Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi. Today's Business Spotlight is brought to you by Spalumbos. And joining me today is Yousef Traya, who is owner of the Bridgeland Market. Thanks, Yousef, for joining us. And give us, first of all, a little history of the market and when it came to be and how it came to be.
Well, my family bought the old Northeast Grocery in 1981. So we've had this grocery store since then under our ownership. About 2003, we leased it out to somebody else. Then in 2011, our family got together and said, okay, well, let's try this again. And we spawned the Bridgeland Market. This location has had a grocery store since about 1912.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Northeast Grocery has always been there. Historically, it was owned by a German family, a Jewish family, another German family, and then a Lebanese family, which was us.
Super. Tell us a little bit, for those of people out there that don't know about the market, tell us a little bit about the market itself, what you have there.
So we're essentially a neighborhood market. What we did in 2011 was we got rid of things like cigarettes and lottery, but we added a bigger produce section. We added things that people could make a whole meal out of rather than just like a convenience. So we're a hybrid of a convenience and a fresh food market. So you could walk in here and make yourself a full meal. But also we have things like, for example, Spalumbos. Like we have a whole line of their stuff, whether it's sausages, lasagnas, cannoli. But then we have a fresh bread section. We have a deli section, fine cheeses, regular cheeses. We have like craft dinner, and we have organic versions of craft dinner, so we have all sorts of stuff. Everything from around the world we have. When we first opened up, everybody was on this local kick. Is it local? So our motto is it's local somewheres in the world. So we bring the world to the people, whether it's stuff from my parents' home village in Lebanon, the olive oil, or something from Spain, Greece, all over. Like, we have it, and we try to do our best to keep it as authentic as we can.
All right, super. Then now, you're small, you're small market, right? A small grocery store. How is it possible in this day and age for businesses like yourself on the smaller scale to compete with the giants of the world out there in the grocery industry?
You're never going to compete with an elephant. So you got to kind of be the mouse and the elephant with them. And with us, it's like we look at our square footage. What we do in our 3,000 square foot, I'm not trying to sound very Mike Tyson, but I challenge them to do what we do. Okay. We have a floral department. We have a bakery. We have a mini butchery. We have a kitchen. We have a cheese section, a deli section, of produce. What we do out of our square footage is quite amazing because we kind of maximize it. And when, let's say, you try to scale that up on a bigger size, I think they can't do it because it's more staffing, more this, more that. For us, we've maximized that our capacity. And that's what we win.
The interesting thing too, I think in this day and age, is a trend for a lot of people wanting those kind of amenities in neighborhoods, right? And like Bridgeland is a perfect example of this. Like, you've got, a local, grocery store within the community. Do you find that from the consumer's point of view, they're more and more gravitating to something like that?
During the pandemic, we saw a huge shift to it. But you also got to remember too, people have budgets.
Yeah.
And where the big guys like the Costco's, I can't compete with my customers shopping at Costco. My customer is going to shop at Costco. My neighbors are going to shop at the bigger stores, their families. And, so you tend to try to give them the experience-based shopping. So for example, I'm not going to carry a 24 pack of toilet paper because the footprint on that will take away from the extra value I can give them on something else.
Yeah.
Whereas let's say, give them the experience and try to give them good quality at a price they can't get.
Yeah, exactly. What about the neighborhood itself? What's it been like for you guys being an anchor, I guess, in that neighborhood for so many years?
Well, I like to say, like, thank you for calling us an anchor. Like, we've been here for many years, and other family businesses have been here as well. But it's nice. Oops, sorry about that.
No worries.
The Zoom cat. For us, it's awesome because I grew up in Bridgeland my whole life.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I was born at the General. Like, I live here. I live above the market. So the neighborhood means a lot to me. And it's kind of an amazing place, and the transition it's been through. I was chatting with my mom yesterday. She goes, I remember when the hospital left us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So he loves to sit. So when the hospital left us, a lot of the businesses on this block suffered, right?
Yeah.
And it's finally, since 96, when the hospital officially closed down, they imploded in about 98, it's finally coming back to light. You're finally having the density. You're finally seeing the growth, right? And the history of this neighborhood was awesome. It's an old Italian European neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 32 churches in here of different denominations. There's everything you could find. But what's amazing is people are seeing it now like as this, oh, it's an up and coming neighborhood condo. You should have seen it back then in the 70s and 60s when it had all this flourishing, when there was a co-op, when there was a hospital, when there was like a medical lab, all this stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see what's happening right now in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like just south of me, half a block, you have like $160 million medical facility being built. All right. And a lot of the new people in the neighborhood don't realize the impact that's going to make on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, imagine having the Foothills Hospital in Bridgeland. That's 15,000 people a day coming to see you.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. It's an interesting transition. I miss a lot of the old businesses that were here.
Yeah.
I miss the city bakery.
Oh, yes.
Like, Fritz Ponzi had that city bakery. It was amazing, right? You had a place where you could buy bread. There was the Italian center. Like the old Italians, now they're Mercato. Then there was the pasta place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're kind of getting back to what it used to be, but I don't want to sound nostalgic and be like NIMBY. I wish they would have seen it before.
Yeah. But it's an interesting transformation, right? Because what we've seen in Bridgeland, as you mentioned, south of you, like if you go south of all that development and residents that are residences that are being built, right, are bringing more people into that community.
Like we have a massive seniors complex. We always have had it ever since, being in Bridgeland. Like all the residents, the senior residents, we used to deliver groceries back in the 80s to them.
Yeah.
Right. They all had kitchens. They all cooked for themselves. Now they're more self-contained units where they have their meal plans and all that. But you got the zoo now. You got the science center. And you have not one, about 3 new accesses into Inglewood. Before you could only go one way into Inglewood. Now there's this connector.
Yeah.
So people from Inglewood and Bridgeland are connected easier.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
And we have bike lanes and all this stuff. So it's a lot different.
Yeah. So one last question I have for you. I'm curious, the west side wall of the building, is it's notorious, I guess, for some of the sayings it has.
Yes. The good old reader board, the one that used to torment me as a child.
Who does that? Is that you?
So, no. See, like our group of staff is great.
Yeah.
And First Ave is an avenue to go to nowhere. It's like there's nothing. It's an avenue to nowhere. It's like something on some movie like Pleasantville. So one thing is that we used to get away with just putting stuff on there and no one would see it. Now with social media and all the good stuff out there, you got to be very careful. Like I've had some pretty fun stuff put on there. Like I remember, like I put something about Jason Kenney, something about like you're out of touch. Have you been listening to Hall and Oates?" As a joke. And people came at me like I was like, guys, it's a joke. So we have rules. We stay away from political satire. Like, we have to be very careful. There's
Yeah.
no tongue in cheek because, you know, it's a family neighborhood.
That's right.
And like, we have a committee. It's like a bunch of monkeys smoking on typewriter committee, but it's similar to that. So it's really good. So it's the staff. You know, a lot of customers will give us stuff, and we're like, listen, we can't. Like, I remember the Meghan Merkel. We jokingly said Team Merkel. I've never had calls, threatening phone calls. Not just like, hey, like, it's, so you gotta be. There's a balance to it.
Yeah, but it's I don't know what the word that to describe it, but it's something unique and different and unique to that neighborhood, and a lot of people talk about it all the time.
Well, to us, it's like this, right? When I first wanted to get rid of it, my designer, Mark Lovely and Shay McBride, I said, we're getting rid of the reader board. And they were like, you're going to be the biggest idiot in the world for doing it. And I'm like, no, it's a torment, because when the school bus would drop me off at home, because we lived upstairs, we'd have things like ham on sale or pasta on sale. They'd always make fun of me. And that was like the kids off The Simpsons, like, hey, Yousef's house has ham for sale. So now it's like become this like amazing thing in our lives. So it's kind of neat. I like it.
Yeah.
To me, I never realized the power of it. I've had, like, you know, thank you Sweden for ABBA, not just ABBA, but Backlund and stuff like that. You know, a lot of the stuff it's made in Hockey Night in Canada. I think the New York Times. It's went around the world. I've had people from around the world say, hey, your signs made it big. So it's like, it's kind of nice.
All right, super. I look forward every time I come down there to seeing what's on that board again. Thanks, Yousef, for
no problem. Sorry about the shop cat. This is our shop cat.
What's the cat's name?
It's Sanford. We named him after Sanford from Sanford and Son.
Does he have a son?
Well, I think we're all his pet, because this thing just. The beauty about this cat is, if ever in the office I'm signing a check for a supplier and the supplier or vendor is there, he sits right on top of it. You never can sign it. So he's a great guy. He's a great controller.
No, there's a good idea for
this is great, you know.
Costs.
It's a great business, but thank you for having me, and I appreciate everything.
All right, super. That was Yousef Traya, who is owner of the Bridgeland Market. I'm Mario Toneguzzi. This has been Business Spotlight, brought to you by Spolumbos. Thanks for joining us today.